You know, I think everybody knows how difficult it is uh, to speak out against something that you know is wrong, and to do it despite the backlash and the hatred that you're going to get towards it. And you know, gays are haters too. You know, they've threatened my church. They've threatened to bomb my pastor. They're no more than a different. They're people too, and that's my point. People are people. So, what is interesting is the cunningness of a lot of the arguments, and I think the clarity and the focus. You know, if you want to have homosexual relationships with somebody, you know, nobody is going to stop you. Back in the day, yeah, they would. You know, and basically the understanding is that that mentality, that kind of sexual desire or lust is not sanctioned. It's not okay, and so it's not really tolerated, and it's not tolerated for the simple fact of the immoral base of it and what it does to society. Basically, you know, if you think about, to me, I mean, just common sense thinking is you can't produce children. So if you can't produce children, you know, you're just having sex for sex sake. Now you call that love. You know, love is, you know, like, you know, you can love somebody else's husband. Love is not a justification, doesn't make it right. You can love your sister, your brother. I don't get what they're saying. There has to be certain guidelines in order for it to be moral, okay? And even that, I have questions to what's moral. I'm not a political activist or any person like that, but I even have questions to separation of church and state. I know it was like probably put in place sometime before my time or my beginnings of political consciousness that these things were put in place to so-called protect us, but they have also been bent and twist, you know, to use against us or to chain us down or whatever. You know, just like the transponders, you know, sticking a microchip in your child to protect your child. Well, eventually, the whole government will know everything by just, you know, pointing a scanner at you. You know, so you have no life, and it eventually just kind of tears you up. So in order for the agenda of the government to like, you know, make this stuff like okay. You know, I mean, that's the real problem. You know, screw homosexuals. I mean, well, they're screwing anyway. But or if that's what they call it, it's my point. My argument is not with homosexuals. My argument is with the decay of the government, the American society. A country that has change its understanding of moral virtue and trying to be a better moral nation, not one that's just trying to please those who have voting power or money or who are fervently active in making this decision. Like I don't know what the gay population actually is. You know, I don't think they're the majority. You know, they're not the majority. And not that that matters. That's why they classify blacks as being a minority. But that's not worldwide. Blacks are not a minority worldwide. You know, unless you keep, you know, starving their nation of Africa and killing them off in mass droves of genocide like that we're currently doing. Unless, you know, you just like infect the whole country with AIDS like they're currently doing. You know, it's not a sense of there's no, you know, in a majority base, you know. So to use all the race stuff and the race struggle, you know, change your skin color. You know, I could change my sexual orientation tomorrow, you know, in 10 minutes if I want. As much as I get hit on by gay men and homosexuals and bisexuals and transgenders and all of these other stuff, that kind of infectious kind of constant growth of this type of morality is spreading all over the place. You can't walk down the street. I've been hit on homosexuals since I was a kid. Homosexuals, everybody knows, homosexuality and any kind of sexual perversion, doesn't respect boundaries. It doesn't respect boundaries. Homosexuality, that's the problems we're having with priests, children, people that aren't even developed sexually. So, and that's another thing. It's like, I think sexuality and oftentimes is groomed by society to say I was born gay. That doesn't make absolutely no sense whatsoever. You grow into your sense of sexuality. You're not even capable of actual sex until you reach how old? 13, 12, 13, 14. Our country is based on a moral standard of Christianity. That's why we're monogamous, not polygamous. When you start to invite the door and open up all the door for all that other stuff, then why not have, people are having sex with dogs and animals. Come on, anybody that's been on the internet knows that. Does that make it right? It is about whether it's right or wrong. God has been the standard of what God is what is right. When you think of righteousness, it comes from God. A marriage between same sex is never sanctioned by God. It's unholy. And I'm starting to research this stuff about civil marriages. That's like people taking the benefits of marriages but want to take out the real true ingredient. And then they ask why we have so much of high divorce rate. Because you need God in a marriage. Not that people don't who have God don't have problems too. But in general, the understanding of those things are a holy reason. Our holiness, righteousness, virtue. If marriage is just a contract, then say, oh, well, I have my goods and bill of goods to sign. If you need to make a declaration of how much you so-called love, God is love. Prove love. You keep saying prove God, prove love. You guys you're not, So anyway, my point is, you say it's nobody's business. It is everybody's business. How other people behave is good for society as a whole. How we behave, a standard of what is acceptable. It's important in your own life, what you won't and will do. Suicide is consensual. Does that make it right? Does that make it not affect anybody? It is everybody's business. And nobody's forcing you. You're the ones nobody's forcing religion on you. You're the one that is forcing. This society is based on Christianity. That's why we have a monogamous marriage. Or we should have polygamy, or anybody can marry anything they want. A man has to marry his dog. Just because you're in love with somebody else's husband doesn't make it right. It's not about love. Marriage has a lot of things that are supposed to make it, and there are obligations. One of those obligations is in most marriages is you're supposed to have, one is supposed to be the man, one is supposed to be the woman. And through that, there are obligations. And the marriage does affect society. And when you raise children up in that environment without the virtue, and my problem is with the government, is the problem that they're losing their sense of virtue, and this prideness. We act like we're invulnerable, and you know what? We can't tell you the difference between what's right and wrong because somebody obviously did not tell you. That's what Christians and Jews and everything else is supposed to be. It's supposed to shed the light for the rest of us that don't see the light, that is in the dark. You know, we're supposed to inform you this is acceptable behavior or not. And oftentimes, just like when Sodom and Gomorrah, they're supposed to warn you when you're going down the wrong path. They are supposed to tell you you're going down, and everything, just like other marriages in the Bible. John the Baptist got his head cut off for warning somebody about an illegal marriage. You know, Lot was warned by the angel that the city was about to get destroyed because of their immorality.